let's take a moment here, just us, and talk about this for a second. I think sometimes you don't know how to use a piece of equipment and you're afraid, you're scared, and that's okay. Lighting is scary. Cameras are scary. There's a lot of buttons, a lot of menu settings. What you have to do is experiment. And sometimes you're going to screw up. Failure is all right. Failure is your friend. I'm here to tell you about failure. Why? Because I am a failure. I just had a photo shoot. Did it go well? It didn't go bad, but I've been trying to do stuff with colored gels for the last while. I'm obsessed with the photography of this guy, Jake Hicks. Check out his stuff, it's incredible. And so I wanted to try to, not necessarily replicate that, but see what I could bring to it with my limited knowledge of how strobes and lighting in general works. F-stops, who needs that stuff? Fraction ratio things in the back of the strobe, I don't know what that means. I'm basically an unqualified idiot when it comes to a lot of this stuff. Had a shoot about 2 weeks ago where we were shooting with colored gels against a black background in the studio space back there, and that stuff came out cool. So I was like, all right, let's take this to the next level. Let's get the model in this green room with some stuff behind her and light her with colored gels, like the background with colored gels. It did not work. In fact, I was so frustrated that I was just like, you know what? Why don't you go home? Because I was just going crazy trying to get what was in my head into the camera, and it wasn't working. This wall was blank. There was no curtains on it. It was just a blank wall, her sitting in front of it. Yeah, it's not going to look good because there was no set deck to it. Thankfully, the model was super patient. She chilled out here. We mixed things up entirely. I ended up putting like tinsel curtains on that wall, and I got something pretty cool. Today I had a great model coming in, and I just really wanted to get this right this time. I wanted to get one color on this wall back here, another color on her from probably both sides, and sort of keep those two worlds separated. There's a weird thing when you're working with strobes in that, like, you click the shutter, you see the image you got for that second on screen, and it's like, oh cool, this is what it looks like when the strobes are shining, the world of the strobes. And then you go back to the world of no strobes. And in this case, when we were going back to the world of no strobes, I was seeing this like beautiful light on her. And it was, we've got like a skylight up in the ceiling here. It's kind of like, it's hidden away by stuff, but it, like, the light was just touching the side of her face here, and it looked gorgeous. And I was like, God, I wish I could capture that light. So I threw off the little, here's the newer, got these flash shutter control things. Took this thing off. I put on 85 millimeter lens onto this thing with a focal reducer, so it was probably like 130. Went back as far as I could, opened the ISO up to like, I was at, I think, 1250, which this stuff's gonna be grainy as shit. But it was just this like beautiful, beautiful light coming in, and just the orangey yellow on the wall behind her it was just something I had to try to capture. And I'm fairly happy with those photos. It's gonna be interesting to see manual focus, so did I get her eye in focus at all with that lens? Probably not. The moral of the story is experiment, fail. It's good to fail. Just be sure the people you're working with are patient. I've been lucky enough to have a lot of patient models work with me over the last while, because most of the time I have no idea what I'm doing, and it's probably pretty obvious, and I'm dropping things all the time. There's things are falling down. It's chaos, basically.